Tell me what is the difference between static versus dynamic row level security? This is a very common interview question. So let us try to understand this with a simple example. Let's say the organization that you are working in has got 5 different branches, and each branch has a different manager, and the manager should be able to view the reports only for the respective branch. Mumbai manager should be able to see only Mumbai reports. Bangalore should be able to see only Bangalore reports. How will you handle this requirement using row level security? So the first thing that you do is within Power BI desktop, you create 5 different roles. Once you create 5 different roles and publish the report, these 5 different roles, that is 5 different branches, will be visible in Power BI service. Within Power BI service, against each branch, you will add the users, that is respective managers, so that only they will be able to see the data for respective branch. So basically, you will do manual mapping against 5 different branches. Now, my question is, let's say your organization doesn't have 5 branches, it has got 500 branches. Then, how will you maintain that? Will you create 500 different roles, publish them to Power BI surveys, and within Power BI surveys, against each branch, will you assign the respective managers? And also imagine that there will be different workspaces, so every workspace you will have to manage this. So you can imagine it will be nightmare to maintain row level security in a static way for the bigger organization. So this is where dynamic row level security comes into picture. So how do we exactly handle this requirement using dynamic row level security? In the data source, you will maintain a mapping table that will have the email ID against the branch. So let's say Rahul is the manager for Mumbai branch, it will have Rahul's email ID, and against that Mumbai will be mapped. And what will you do within Power BI desktop? You will create one role that will handle the entire requirement. Within this role, you will make use of the function user principal name. This user principal name will identify the email ID. So what exactly happens is the moment Rahul logs into Power BI, it will identify, okay, this is Rahul's email ID. Using this user principal name function, it will know that this is Rahul's email ID. Then it will see in the DB against Rahul Mumbai is mapped. Then we have a data model that will move the filter propagation for Mumbai region from dim table to fact table. Whatever the data that belongs to Mumbai region, only that will be visible to Rahul. Now tomorrow, let's say there are 50 different users who have joined the organization. For dynamic row level security, all you need to do is add those 50 users in the source table. That's all, right? Other things will be taken care by Power BI using the user principal name function. So you can imagine how easy and how convenient it is to maintain the dynamic row level security. That is why dynamic row level security is always preferred by the bigger organization. Now, to understand this better, let us do this practically. So let's first implement static row level security. As we can see, these are the 5 different cities and these are the manager for the respective cities. To implement this, go to modeling, manage role, new. So out of those 5 roles, we will create role number 1. Let's rename this and let's create a role for Mumbai. So I'll say Mumbai static. And then we go to this store table which has the different cities and click on new. Store city equals I'll say Mumbai. Okay, the spelling should be exactly same the way it is defined in the table. I will click on save button. Now go to view as. This is the role that we have created, right? So I'll click OK. And as we can see, only Mumbai's data is getting filtered. So once you do this in Power BI desktop, the next thing that you do is you publish this report to Power BI service. So if you create 5 different roles in Power BI desktop, all those 5 roles will be visible in Power BI service. All you need to do is, let's say if the role is Mumbai, you will assign Rahul's email ID. If the role is Bengaluru, you will assign Rajiv email ID. So like that, for the respective roles, the respective users will get added and those users will be able to see only that particular city's data. Now this example has got only 5 different cities, but let's say there are 500 different cities in your organization then how will you handle that? To handle that, you need dynamic row level security. For dynamic row level security, we need the mapping table which should be available in the data source. So this is the data source. We can see this particular table which has got the mapping of user ID and the respective city filter. Now, only creating this particular table in the data source is not good enough. We also need to make sure that these user access table which we have created for dynamic row level security should be mapped to other table through this category column or the city column. Okay, so let's see if it is mapped. Let's go to the data model. This is our data model, and as we can see, category is mapped to this store city. Okay, so you can see the store city and category, these two are mapped. Okay, if you go to the store table, you will see the same values. So let's go to the store table. We can see store city has got exactly similar value. That means we have created a relationship one to many, and most importantly, the filter propagation is moving from user table to store table. Okay, and further it is moving to the fact table. So once these things are in place, we can start the implementation of row level security. For that, go to modeling, manage role, new. Let's rename this as city dynamic role. Only one role is enough to handle the row level security for all the users. So once we create this role, go to this user access table, click on new, and as we know, username is required. So I'll say username equals to, and while putting the value, I'll click on this switch to DAX editor. I will make use of the user principal name function. Okay, then I'll click on save, then close. Then let us see if this is working. So what I will do is I'll just go to this table of user access. Let's say I want to filter the data for Rahul. So I'll say click Rahul, copy value. I've copied the value, then view as, select city dynamic, other user, put Rahul's email ID, and Rahul is mapped to Mumbai, so only Mumbai's data should get filtered. Let's see if that's happening. Click OK, and only Mumbai's data is getting filtered. I'm very sure that this is working, but you're still not clear how exactly this is happening in backend. Let us try to understand this. So I have taken this card visual and I have created this particular measure. I'm using just user principal name function. So let's see exactly what is this user principal name function doing. The moment I drag this, it is showing me the email ID. The user who is logged in will be identified using this user principal name ID. Now what happens in the backend is, if you remember, while creating a rule, we had put a small condition that user ID is equal to user principal name. So what really happens is, the moment user logs into the system using the user principal name function, the user's email ID will be identified. Then Power BI will go to this user access table, and let's say the user who has logged in is Shrikant.decode. Then it will see this username Shrikant.decode. Then Power BI will see what is the category mapped or what is the city mapped. The city mapped is Pune. Now the Power BI knows that for this user Pune is mapped. Then it will go to data model. It will see, okay, for this particular user Pune is mapped. Now this Pune city is mapped to this store table, and then again this store table is mapped to the fact table, which is sales table. So you can see the filter propagation is moving from this table, user table, to dimension table, that is store table, and then from store to again fact table. So this is how Power BI will know, okay, the user is Shrikant, the city mapped is Pune, and through the store table, and then filter propagation will move to this fact table, and that is how Power BI will know that, okay, I need to show the data only for Pune. That is how we implement the dynamic row level security. So next time, if there are 5 different users or 50 different users who have joined the organization, then all you have to do is update this mapping of username and the respective city. Everything else will be taken care by Power BI. So do not just try to memorize the difference between dynamic and category. Understand what is happening fundamentally at the backend. Use your critical thinking, and then you will be able to answer anything related to this topic within interview, and that way you will stand out in the interviews and your chances of selections will be better. I hope this was helpful. Make sure that you comment your feedback and subscribe and share this video. Thank you for watching. Bye. Have a nice day.